enthusiasm, we have commitment, we have principles, and above all, we have a name. Now, I was going to read it in reverse order, but I've now got the piece of paper in front of me here. Your party is the name of your party. So on every doorstep you can go up and say, they say, who are you? You say, it's your party. It's your party. Very brief from me to close off the conference. We've got some music to follow, so that'll be an improvement. First of all, huge thank you to all of the staff here at this centre. They've been fantastic, the security staff and everybody else. Thank you so much. And also, the huge effort made by so many delegates and visitors to get here for the conference, the cost they've spent on it, and all that is a huge sacrifice that many, many, many people have made. And we should recognise that because they've done it because they believe in something and want to achieve something. I would also hope that we can seriously take feedback on the conference arrangements, and in particular what I understand to be a shortage of rooms for people with disabilities in hotels in Liverpool. If we can get a measure of how big that problem is, then I, for one, and I'm sure my colleagues as well, would be very happy to take that up with the appropriate people in Liverpool, because Liverpool is a great city, but it needs to be welcoming for everybody, as of course it has been and is. I also want to thank all of those that have spoken to the conference, all the guest speakers we've had from councils, from abroad, and of course my colleagues in Parliament and others. But I also want to say a huge thank you to all the volunteers that have worked to establish your party at a local level in communities, and we'll be doing all that now in a very systematic way to build up a branch structure all over the country, and obviously in Scotland and Wales they will be making decisions on the structures that they want, but I'm very sure it's going to be very similar to the sort of things we're doing. But I also want to say a huge thank you to the volunteers who put this conference together. It wasn't easy. There were a lot of struggles on the way, getting a venue, getting the papers written and all the rest of it. I understand all the frustrations about the statements, the rules, the constitution and the drafts and so on. As I said earlier, and Zara said in her speech, there is no handbook on how to set up a political party, but we have come a long way and learnt a lot along the way. So I want to say thank you to all those volunteers that have worked incredibly hard, particularly led by Carrie Murphy, who did an awful lot of work to make sure this conference actually happened. And it has happened, and we are here. And where we move on from now is, of course, initially a group which will be chosen by Sortition to oversee how we go forward to elections for the Central Executive Committee, and then the party is very much up and running from that point on. And so it is important that we all absolutely work together on all of this and recognize that what we say and what we do has huge implications for people all over this country. It also is a signpost for the way in which the left in Europe and around the world can organize together in unity to fight back against the rise of the far right, not just in Europe, but in the USA and the nationalist right that are going all around the world. And so the solidarity we've shown over Palestine is right, but we also need to show solidarity against the other conflicts in the world, to bring about peace in Ukraine, in Sudan, in Congo, and recognize what Trump is doing in the Caribbean is incredibly dangerous, not just to Venezuela, but to Colombia and all of the other Caribbean islands as well. These issues are incredibly important. We are a very diverse group of people and supporters. And that is the strongest way of attacking what the government is doing in creating a new, horrible, hostile environment for so many people within our society. The attacks on asylum seekers and refugees, the threats to people who are here with indefinite leave to remain, and the systematic abuse of those people that no will of their own have been put into asylum hotels. Our party, your party, this party, we have got to be in the forefront of the fight against racism and discrimination in any form whatsoever in our society. And that means we have to be well organized, and I do hope that when our branches are established and running, there's no rule to it, but I would hope it will be the case that they would all want to have an open meeting at least once a month in which every local community group is invited in to tell us about their issues. They might not always agree with us, we might not always agree with them, but that's a good thing. You bring people in to debate, discuss, and try and find a way forward to improve people's lives. Because a lot of people are looking for a political change. Young people spending half their salary trying to pay for a private rented flat. That's wrong. It's got to change. It's got to be us who bring about that change. The thousands of people that sleep rough every night or spend the whole day hanging around bus stations, train stations, just trying to raise the money for one night in a night shelter. We can, as a country, do much better than that, and we need to do much better than that. And in doing that, we have to challenge the economic orthodoxy which is in place. The economic orthodoxy which we saw in operation in the budget, in which the lowest paid, poorest people are going to be brought into taxation for the first time, are going to be paying more in tax. And yes, they have lifted the two-child benefit cap, but everything else is pretty grim. The only department that's gained a lot of money is the Ministry of Defence, which will be getting $13 billion a year more by 2028 and 29. And so you have in office a government that is more interested in spending more money on weapons of war than it is dealing with the crisis of homelessness and division within our society. So we can be the people that do something very different and put that across very differently. That means campaigning. It means working with a lot of other people in a decent, inclusive and respectful way. And it means then, yes, contesting elections as well. The point being, elections are not an end in themselves. They are an opportunity to put someone in a position of responsibility on a local authority, a national parliament, or the UK Parliament, putting them in a position of responsibility. They only get there because of the work done by people mobilizing in communities, and those communities putting their hope, their faith, and their trust in those individuals. It's up to us to organize those communities. The alternative is reform Tommy Robinson or the triopoly of political thinking in Parliament at the present time. Are we up for the alternative? Are we up for socialism? Are we up for social justice? Are we up for a world of peace? And do you know what? When we do it, we bring people together. When we do it, we actually have a lot of fun together. When we do it, it's important to listen to other people. Some people think that you should only listen to those that come from the finest and greatest universities and so on, because they know a lot. Well, yeah, they do know a lot. But I've often found some of the wisest philosophers are those people that are sweeping our streets, are homeless, or working in care homes, or working in hospitals, and have real philosophy and real empathy for fellow human beings. We can build a society that cares for each other. We can build a society that helps each other. We can build a society that unites each other, but you can't do it at the same time as a grotesquely unequal economic system that rewards billionaires every hour of every day, that impoverishes the poor at every hour of every day, and destroys our environment and takes us to war around the world. Are we the alternative? Thank you. I was worried I wouldn't get the answer to that one. Thank you very much. What a wonderful weekend. What a wonderful conference. Safe journey home, everybody.